Welcome, everybody. It is Thursday, November 14th. It is 2 weeks from Thanksgiving, but more importantly, it is 1 day from Black Friday, as we all know, an incredibly lucrative day for all of our digital content creators out in the universe. And we are smack dab in the middle of Q4. How is everything going for all of our publishers out there watching today? I am Jenny Guy. I'm Mediavine's marketing manager and host of Teal Talk. Welcome. My guest today is somebody we all know and love. I don't know if most of you are aware or not, but last week we held our second 2019 Mediavine Conference in Austin, and Eric started off the morning by dropping some major bombs about all the exciting things that were happening at Mediavine. So that's what we're here to talk about. There were a lot of them, and we're going to kind of address each one individually. But first, someone is saying they can't hear us. Christine Cook, but I'm pretty sure it's not us. I think everyone else can hear us. Sorry, Christine.
I can hear you, Jenny. So I'm hoping.
If we can hear each other, that's really not the point at all. Yeah. Okay, Eric, will you go ahead and summarize what you announced, all of the things you announced in your morning session? If you've got questions for Eric and I, shoot them, but let's at least get a baseline for what we're talking about today.
Yeah. Well, the announcements about ads were not that exciting, so we probably won't talk about them here. We're going to make people a lot of money. We're going to make it faster, all the stuff we usually do with ads.
Sorry. Speaking about that, Eric, there are some things on the wall behind you that I did not notice the last time.
I hardly noticed. It's as if I put them up recently, right? Yeah.
It's odd. Tell me about them, please.
I would love to. Well, off frame, you can't see some of my other things, such as my diploma that I also hung up finally after however many years of graduating.
Good job.
Thank you. I did. I graduated.
The man steering the ship did graduate from college, ladies and gentlemen.
I did. So sorry. Yeah, the awards behind me are, we actually just came back from the Google Certified Publishing Partner Summit that they do every year. And we are, in fact, the most award-winning publisher there. Publishing partner, and that is because we took these two awards, which is the highest health score award. So Google kind of measures us on a bunch of different factors as their publishing partners. What are we doing for our publishers? How is the satisfaction? How is our growth of this company? How's our performance? And we got a perfect score of 100. Then the other is the Csat Award. It's not an SAT. It is, in fact, an award for customer service, and that is because we won for the highest customer service of all Google certified publishing partners. So pretty exciting. The only company that took home 2 awards.
That is incredible. We are the winningest company at Google. That's amazing. I love that is a word I checked earlier, if anyone was wondering out there. So can you tell us just a little bit more about that? What are the criteria? I know that the one was based solely on customer surveys, the Csat, which again is not a test, a college preparatory test. But the other one, what are the criteria for that one?
It changes every year from Google, but it's basically them measuring to make sure that we're being good partners, good partners to both our publishers and to Google. So providing value. So it's just measured against a variety of factors, whether it be customer service is just one of the, I think it's 5 factors they have, or maybe it's more than that. Similar, Bianca at Google is very disappointed me for not memorizing all of the factors that went into this.
I'm disappointed, personally.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. I didn't know you were going to be asking me about them just because they're sitting right behind me.
I have to take what I see and be organic in the moment, Eric.
We should have just had an all teal wall forever. Lesson learned.
Yeah, I like the visual interest, though. It's giving a little dimension there to the teal wall. Everyone is loving it. Everyone's saying, yay, congratulations. Well, we're excited, and you can rest easy knowing that you are in the hands of the winning, not only a college grad, as you can see over his left shoulder.
You can't see. Yeah.
You can't see. No, it's there, but I can see it, guys. It's there. Okay. And also, Karen just jumped us a little bit. We'll come back to you, Karen. Karen just asked, Trellis update, please, and thank you. But first, I'm going to have you kind of just give an overview back to what we were talking about before over what you announced at our conference last week in Austin.
Yeah, so in Austin, again, it started with talking about some of the ad improvements we're going to be making around here. Not that exciting, make more money faster. Nobody likes talking about ads. So I think the thing that people want to hear about the most is probably, we've already been alluded to in the comments by Karen over there. We talked a little bit about Trellis, but I think the most exciting announcement we probably made was the announcement of Grow. Grow is our marketing plugin, and it is already in the WordPress repo with 80,000 installs. And that's because we acquired Social Plug and Opt-in Hound from DevPups. We're extremely excited to announce that, as well as, of course, some updates to Create, including a jump to recipe or a jump to card button. So I know, lots of fun announcements.
Crazy. And maybe just to prompt you a little, did we talk a little bit about the Mediavine
dashboard?
Yeah,
we did. So we teased our new dashboard is currently under development and about to be ready for testing, hopefully very soon. So we're able to demo that at the conference. The new dashboard 2.0 is a heck of a lot prettier than the old dashboard. But more importantly, it kind of uses the same underlying framework as Create. So it allows our developers who are working on Create to now be able to work on our dashboard and share a lot of resources, not just development resources, but actual code. So as Create gets better, the dashboard gets better, and vice versa. It allows us to develop a lot faster, add new features, including things like date comparison. We were able to add super easily with this. So you can see how you were doing this Q4 compared to last Q4, for example. What's happened with your RPMs, what's changed with your ad units. All that kind of data is going to be super easy to access now.
And make testing different features and different featured videos and ad settings and all that much easier for our publishers. That's incredible. Super excited. Okay, so some quick comments, and then we might as well just talk about Karen's question first. Lynn DeAngelis April said Austin was amazeballs, learned so much. Thank you for saying amazeballs, so I can then in turn say amazeballs in front of everyone. You gave me permission. Thea Osborne said, Grow makes me so happy. Christine Cook says she can't wait to see it. Carrie Hirsch says, I am obsessed with Create. I love it so much. Yay for all those comments. Now, Eric, the question that is on Karen's mind, and many others, I'm sure. Talk to us a little bit about Trellis.
Okay, so first and foremost, Trellis is live on 10 sites. So I want to start with that. There are sites running it. Trellis does exist. It's not a figment of our imagination that we like to keep talking about. It's there. And the 10 sites that are running it, it's very successful on. The reason why it's been delayed and why it's only on 10 sites, not to a wider pool, a beta pool, is because we went back to almost like the drawing board and ended up adding a lot of new features to Trellis. And the reason why is because if Trellis were living in a vacuum, it would be the fastest site ever. If Trellis were living in a vacuum with just Create and ads running, it would still be the fastest site ever. But the problem is that vacuum doesn't exist. Our publishers like a variety of plugins, a large variety of plugins, an excessively large variety of plugins. And so as even just 10 sites, we've learned that there's a lot of plugins and a lot of third-party JavaScript that were just slowing down sites. So one of the things we had to do is go back and try to optimize as much as we could and not relying on kind of third-party plugins to do those optimizations. So we want Trellis to be kind of like WP Rocket, end a theme in one. You press one button and activate, and you suddenly have a fast site. That's the goal behind Trellis. It's not here so you have to go through and configure a bunch of settings like you do with plugins. And so in order to do that, we kind of had to add a lot of features along the way, and that's responsible for a lot of the delay behind Trellis. I don't want to call it delay because it's out and we've never even set like an actual deadline for it. So it's not really delayed. It's going to come out when it's ready. And we think it's going to be hopefully in the hands of a larger beta pool soon. Obviously, we're always a little nervous to release anything in Q4, so it might be early next year. But we're going to make sure it's very ready for people when it's in their hands.
Love that. Okay, Claudia Colenzo Lamascolo, going back to what we were talking about with the dashboard, she said it's great that you'll be able to see if something went wrong faster on your website with the dashboard. Absolutely true. Michelle Hall said, if you want to prove that it's live, I think you need to put it on my site.
Okay, that's the only way. Got it. How about a little logo at the bottom of some sites? Would that count?
Well, Christine Cook is asking if we could get a links to those sites running Trellis. Are we okay with doing that?
Yeah, I think the best one to send out is actually Sam's, the Culinary Compass. It's probably a great one. Yeah, because that's actually running even a new version of Grow that we're working on right now that's going to be optimized for page speed. That's on her site. So that's the one that you can plug in and see 90 plus scores on all of her pages. The dream of Trellis with very little configuration.
The dream of Trellis.
We're hoping.
Thea Osborne said, how can we possibly sign up for the larger pool of beta testers? We can share that link to the beta testing site. We do have one of those. Are we still opening? Yeah, okay.
It's still open, yeah.
Great. Okay. Courtney Odell said, Eric, Sweet Seas is so ready for Trellis.
Sweet Seas is so not ready for Trellis, I promise you. Or Trellis is so not ready for Sweet Seas. Better way of phrasing it.
But it'll be there. We're going to get it.
It'll be there.
So we're asking for your patience on that. And it's exciting to hear all of the different options that are coming to it and optimizations that are coming that'll be hands-free that people can just take advantage of without doing a lot of work. In terms of getting ready for Trellis, would a plugin audit be a good idea potentially? Maybe, I mean, just in general.
Just in general, that's good, like life advice. Do a plugin audit. The more you can remove, the better. I don't like to necessarily take the blanket statement of more plugins bad. It's more plugins that don't necessarily practice best behavior that you want to remove. And that's really tough, I think, for a non-technical person to always analyze. But you want to make sure these plugins aren't inserting a lot of JavaScript, a lot of CSS. So if you run something like your scheduling software plugin that's only in the back end of WordPress, that's not slowing down the front end of your site. That's fine. What you really want to do is you don't want to have 3 social plugins, social sharing plugins running. You don't want to have like 3 recipe card plugins running. And you think I'm exaggerating with those, but we see a lot of sites with those, including some of the Trellis sites that are being tested, that are still running their old cards. Like that's the kind of stuff you should be working on to get rid of now, because I can almost guarantee most of those plugins will not be Trellis optimized, especially ones that have not been updated in years.
Absolutely. People are loving the Culinary Compass. They're commenting on it right now. We are sharing the beta testing forum. We're also sharing how to do a plugin self-audit. And you segued lovely, speaking of social sharing plugins. We've got lots to cover here about all the announcements we made, but let's start out with Social Pug becoming Grow by Mediavine. What was the purpose of this acquisition? Also, why? And we typically build our own things from scratch around Mediavine parts, or around these territories. And it was a little surprising. So tell us why. What was the point of this?
Yeah, so first, the motivation behind the social sharing plugin, or really it's going to be an entire marketing plugin, is that those are some of the plugins that we've seen slow down sites the most. The reason why is a lot of these social sharing plugins will call out to third-party JavaScript. That is the thing that slows your site down the most. It's why we built that audit tool years ago. It's why Google screams at you in PageSpeed Insights for running it. Third-party JavaScript can bring your site to a screeching halt. And a lot of plugins rely on that. Social Pug was one of the ones we found that kind of had best behavior. It was like kind of the closest to being optimized for page speed. So we saw a great opportunity. And then it came down to, like, do you want to build this from scratch, like we did with Create, and work on years of adoption, or do we want to be able to help the most number of publishers the quickest? And we decided to go that route this time. At this point, a lot of people don't like to migrate between social sharing plugins. They lose share counts, and there's a lot of other reasons why. Sometimes there's a lot of custom short codes, things like click to tweets, hidden Pinterest, all sorts of features they've been using over the years. People don't want to migrate. End of the day, if we were about to go and make grow right from scratch, everyone had to migrate. Now we found an installation base that's extremely high within our group of publishers. So this is the best way we could help our publishers the quickest. So it seemed like a pretty good fit.
Also, we're working on Trellis. Do you want us to stop working on Trellis to build a new? We need to, let's muster our forces. Okay. So tell us what Grow is. For those out there who don't know what Social Pug was or what Grow is now, explain to us what the functions are of it, please.
Right. So as I keep saying, the reason why we named it Grow is because it's the same reason why we named Create. The goal is going to be helping you grow your traffic, marketing your site. It's going to be an all-purpose marketing plugin over time. Today, what it is literally Social Pug being renamed to Grow, but that is just the short term of what you're seeing. Social Pug, for those of you who don't know, it is a handful of social tools. So those tools include the obvious of sharing buttons that I keep alluding to. Sharing buttons at the top of your post, fixed ones on the top or bottom of your site, floating share bars, all the stuff that you're kind of used to seeing from all the sharing plugins, but also things like hidden Pinterest images, click to tweets, all sorts of cool additional features that they've added. He has follow buttons that were in Social Pug. All sorts of features are coming along at no cost to your page speed is going to be the goal. So you're going to get everything you loved about Social Pug, but faster. And then a lot more will be added because there's also Opt-in Hound, which I think I'm jumping the gun on probably. No one's even asked about that one yet. But Opt-in Hound lesser known, I think, which is why our publishers probably don't know about it. It's kind of a newsletter signups. So whether that's exit intent if someone's going to leave your site, or a pop-up as you're scrolling, or just newsletter forms inside your content. Same concept. Let's take those things, let's optimize them for page speed. Because between social sharing plugins and newsletter signups, we've seen as much as 30-point hits to page speed insights. So we knew there was no point in releasing Trellis if we can't give you recommendations in order to be able to get 90 plus. And that's our goal. Culinary Compass, test it on any page, and that's not even a fully optimized Trellis site. It's already 95, I think, 90 to 95.
Bomb. Okay, Lynn DeAngelis April says, my interface still looks like Social Pug. Will that change?
Yeah, everything is going to slowly change about Grow, except for the feature set. Everything you love about it, the feature set, is going to continue to stay and only get improved upon. But the rebranding is going to be coming in the next few weeks. Any licenses are also going to be transferred over. The plugin itself is going to transfer over automatically. There's no work you need to do. But the way it looks today is it looks like you're using Social Pug, right? Like you're not going to be able to tell the difference if you install it today. Over the coming weeks and months, it'll become Grow.
It's not the color of Eric's wall. It doesn't. We've got to get on that stat.
Sufficiently lacking teal. I would agree.
Page speed is important, but if it's not the right color, I can't even really get into it. So you just answered Melissa Russo's question. If we're already running Social Pug, do we need to do anything else at this point? The answer is no.
Common question. No, absolutely nothing. Literally, your license, if you're currently active, will automatically transfer over. When you go to renew, you'll be renewing through the Mediavine marketplace that we'll talk about in a bit. I know. So you will automatically basically transition. We're going to make it as smooth as possible for you. You shouldn't have to think about this as you're going through the transition.
Carrie Hurst, if I am not currently using Social Pug, should I wait until Grow is ready? What do you advise?
There's no advantage to waiting versus doing it now. I would say there's a slight advantage to doing it now, in that we are planning on changing the pricing structure of Grow. Today, we're honoring all the Social Pug pricing, which is $34 a year. So it is a paid plugin. We should mention that. Social Pug has a free version that's in the repo. The free version is a little limited. The pro version has a lot more features to it. And the pro version is where we're going to be working on the optimizations first. The reason why we're doing that is because there are over 80,000 people that have Social Pug installed. As we go to optimize for page speed, it's going to be a complete rewrite of all the JavaScript and CSS of the plugin. So we want to have a smaller pool that will be our pro users, and a group of users we have a better relationship with that we're able to support. So we're going to be starting with the pro users for that optimize for page speed mode. So definitely consider pro if you're looking into Social Pug, because that's where you're going to be able to get those fast page speed scores that we and Google love.
And your users love, for sure.
And your users.
Carla Bushy, the share count will stay. I know that is vanity, but she still likes to know.
We have no intention of removing the share count. So I think one of the cool things that Pug does is it locally caches kind of your counts. It doesn't have to call out to all the third parties. It does a lot of cool speed optimizations already. That's kind of what I was saying. It gets a lot of the pieces right. We think there's ways that you can do social counts without slowing down the site. I think most plugins do not do this. And that's kind of why we want to make sure that we're bringing these optimizations to Social Pug, to make sure that you are able to still get share counts, even if they're just vanity, even if most people don't care about them besides you. If you want them, you should have them. So we're going to make sure they don't slow down your site.
So the main thing we're talking about moving forward, what can the existing Social Pug users look forward to as we put our development team behind really working on Grow? And the largest thing I'm hearing you say is page speed. That's going to be our biggest focus moving forward, that whatever features we add, we're looking to maintain an excellent page speed score for GPSI.
Yeah, I think one of the things is page speed is the nearest term feature that we're working on. Of course, what happens beyond that is going to be migrating in the newsletters from Opt-in Hound. I think that's going to be the next step. We want to make sure that, again, someone has the ability to do both of those two things when coming on Trellis. After that, I don't know if people here at Austin got to see Jordan's presentation. He did his little Voltron example, but the idea being that create Trellis, and Grow all kind of fit together and get stronger together. We should come up with a less nerdy reference. I was going to go with Captain Planet if I were doing it, but I think that might actually be nerdier. Yeah, nerdier. Okay. I don't know. It's tough. So anyways, the powers combined of these three plugins are going to be better than the sum of the parts is better. Okay, I should just stop.
How about the Avengers? It's like each Avenger is fine on their own, but when you put them together,
much better, right? That's how we get the Avengers. Okay, thank you. And actually, our development team that works on these plugins have Avenger nicknames in Slack, so they would have much better, Jenny. So these plugins are like the Avengers, right?
Yeah.
And so they're kind of going to hook in together. And what you're going to see is by having Grow and Create running, you're going to get new options in Create. And by having Grow running alongside Trellis, you'll get new options in Trellis. So you'll be able to add your social sharing icons that will fit perfectly within your theme if you're running both Trellis and Grow. Like lots of cool little, almost like Easter eggs like that you're going to see if you're running all three of these plugins. And so those are probably going to be a lot of the next features coming up. Like what can we do to improve our existing plugins now that we've acquired Social Plug and our Run and Grow?
And I have just a general question about our plugins, Grow and Create, and eventually Trellis. Do you have to be working with Mediavine for ads to take advantage of these plugins?
Well, Jenny, I feel like you know the answer to that, but I like the softball question.
I do. I just had to give you Avengers, and I don't want to embarrass you anymore. So just take the softballs.
Okay, we'll take that one. No, that is actually a common misconception. Even though these are made by Mediavine, they're not made exclusively for Mediavine publishers. We do that on purpose. We want, obviously, to help the entire community, especially publishers that are attempting to grow to reach Mediavine levels, right?
Yeah.
People that are under 25,000 sessions a month. These plugins are here to help you grow your traffic, create better content, and have a faster site, all of which things are going to help you ultimately, be able to get into Mediavine and make more money when you're at Mediavine. So we want these plugins to be available for everyone.
Absolutely. We want everyone to do it. Lynn just said, but everyone knows Mediavine pubs are the best. Duh. Well, Lynn, we certainly think so, but there are lots of Mediavine pubs out there that aren't Mediavine pubs yet. They just don't know it. They're waiting. So we've got to.
Future Mediavine pubs are also the best. We agree.
They're also the best. Okay. Carrie Hurst said, I appreciate that. I am not on Mediavine yet, but I appreciate you offer these plugins to all of us who aren't on Mediavine. Absolutely. Lynn Hill said, I just checked my plugins and discovered I already have the free version of Social Pug. Yay. I've never heard that. Yay. I may look to upgrade now. So talk to us about the pricing structure. You said that the prices might be going up a little bit. What are the options? And that's going to lead us into my next topic, which is the Mediavine Marketplace.
So we actually are still trying to figure out, I think, the pricing structure of Social Plug. We don't want to necessarily start charging the more premium rates until we can justify the more premium rates. But the plan is to raise it at the end of the day, $34 a month, or $34 a year. Sorry, definitely not $34 a month. Doesn't necessarily cover all the infrastructure costs that are going to be associated with Grow. We offer a lot of APIs right now in Create. We're offering APIs in Trellis. And there's going to be APIs in Grow. And for those of you who don't know what APIs are, that means your website has to talk to our server to get something done. That comes at a cost. It's not necessarily free also to develop these plugins, and certainly not free to support them. There's real publisher support people that are helping you with these plugins. And so ultimately $34 a year is not really sustainable. It was sustainable and it was kind of a one-man plugin. But not necessarily something that Mediavine is going to be able to support. And again, we want to make these things available for non-Mediavine publishers, as many publishers as possible. In order to do that, it will have to be a paid plugin. And we're figuring out that pricing model now. I don't think it's going to be substantially more expensive. At one point, we had this teased in the blog post. We were thinking closer to like a $49 price point, $49 a year. But again, these numbers are still being figured out.
And we did share that blog post that has your TLDR video if anyone doesn't want to read it. So all the information about Grow is out there. You can read about it there. Okay, I'm going to jump into a Carla Bushy's question real quick, and then we can talk about the marketplace. She says, will Social Pug or Grow have the Pinterest options like Tasty Pins? I have both at this point.
Without being 100% familiar with Tasty Pins, I think Social Pug already has a ton of the same Pinterest features. And if it doesn't, let us know what those are, because our goal is ultimately, again, you shouldn't have to run other plugins in order to accomplish your social marketing efforts. We want Grow to be the only social plugin you need to run. So let us know. If it doesn't do them now, we can make sure it does.
Also, the name Tasty Pens makes me hungry, Carla. So I'm just saying that's where I am with it all. Okay, the Mediavine Marketplace. So we're going to be offering you. There is a free version of Grow. Create is also free. So talk to us a little bit about what the marketplace is, the Mediavine Marketplace is, and what will be available there. Why it's going to make everybody so happy that it exists.
The marketplace is basically where we're going to be. This was originally designed to sell the Trellis child themes. So again, Trellis child themes are also going to be paid offerings. Trellis itself, the underlying framework, we're still figuring out the actual pricing model of, but the child themes we know are going to be paid options. The actual built-in Trellis that you're seeing on the Culinary Compass isn't even a child theme, by the way. So if you like the way that looks, wait till you see what the child themes look like. And that was the original inspiration behind the marketplace. But now that, of course, that we've acquired a paid plugin, we need somewhere for you guys to be able to buy it. So the marketplace is also going to be hosting our paid plugin options. So things like the Social Pro features of Grow will be for sale in the marketplace. It'll be pretty easy to use, especially for Mediavine publishers.
Love that. I'm getting some reports from people who are already using Grow by Mediavine, formerly known as Social Pug, that yes, the Tasty Pens are already available in the Grow gallery. So we're good. Okay. Next exciting thing, and I think Carla had a question about this one too. So this is a little bit hell freezing over-esque for all of us that we have something that we announced. Tell us about the latest version of Create and what it added and why, please.
All right. So 1.5.0 did in fact add jump to recipe or jump to card, as we're calling it. It is something we have spoken against for the last few years. The reason why we ended up we're able to walk it back, we're able to change our mind, is because we came up with a very creative solution. So first off, for those who don't know what jump to recipe or jump to card is, it's a button at the top of a page. You click it, you skip all the content, therefore skip all the in-content ads. On mobile, that's like 90% of your ads, 95% of your ads. You just had your user skip. They jump right to the recipe card. They cook their recipe. They leave your site, never see it again. Or in the case of a how-to card, they build your craft. They never come back. You made no money off them. So that was the part we were always speaking against. Don't have users skip your content.
Trashing your viewability score too.
Right. And of course, if they skipped the ads and the ads were still rendered, then nobody saw them. And now you're just lowering your overall site's viewability, hurting your long-term earning potential. So jump to recipe buttons have all sorts of problems. We were able to solve them because we control both sides, right? We run Create and the script wrapper. Back to our Avengers, we now have the ultimate team up of, I got to be quick on my feet here, Captain America and Iron Man, right?
Yes, those are accurate.
Yeah, they came back together.
Thor.
Oh, should have gone with Thor. Oh my God, Thor Ragnarok, that great movie. Thor and the Hulk, right?
A Hulk, Bruce Banner and the Hulk, yep.
Okay, got him. So the two of them are able to team up now and actually solve this problem together. And that problem being, we don't want ads that you skip over and aren't viewable, because what ends up happening is that lowers your site's overall viewability. And that is how advertisers are ultimately buying against your site. If you kind of hit below this magic number of 70%, you're going to lose out on a lot of campaigns. You hit below 60%, another set of campaigns are going to disappear. Under 50%, so on and so forth. And we've always seen that food bloggers traditionally had the lowest viewability at Mediavine, not the highest. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that of those jump to recipe buttons. What our button does is any ads that have not rendered already in the card, it's just going to remove them if a user clicks jump. So they never even had a chance to render. Then they're going to appear in the card. What's really cool now is we know when you click that button, we're able to now optimize the card with more ads or with better ads. So we have what we call now the arrival unit. So you're going to appear right before the card. They're going to arrive at another ad that we were able to insert. Highly viewable because it's already able to render ahead of time because we know they clicked that button. They appear inside the content, and now we made sure that you're at the maximum CBA settings, or Coalition for Better Ads. So we're able to now, even if you had a lower ad setting, we're going to increase the number of ads that user is going to see because they did the jump to card and skipped all those other ads. So we're going to make sure that we mitigate as much of the revenue loss as we can and as much as the viewability loss. So you're going to earn both more in the short term and long term.
But that's with a huge but. That doesn't mean that we're saying go out immediately and start using this jump to button.
Okay. So if you are adamant about using a jump to button, such as you have a lot of Pinterest users and you want to build this for those kind of users, you better be using Create. We're going to put it that way. Like, if you want to use a jump to button and we can't talk you out of it, use Create so you don't destroy your business. If you have the option of you don't want to use it because you're okay with that different user experience, that is the better practice, right? At the end of the day, you want as much engaging content as you can, and you want your readers to read that content. This is not our strong recommendation, but our strong recommendation is if you want to run it with Create.
Yes. Okay. We've got a lot of people saying, Carla said, I'm still chicken to use the button. Olivia said, me too. Carla said, I don't care if my people have to scroll. We don't either. Their fingers are going to be fine. They can put Band-Aids on them. They can get like a VA to scroll for them, whatever. Tanya Harris says, thank you for explaining it. Super helpful. All right. I'm going to kind of jump into some questions here. Lynn DeAngelis April wants to know what a tasty pin is. I mean, other than delicious sounding. Right. That's going to have to be a user thing there. Thea says, will all the options be the go-to plugins that Mediavine recommends for each given task? Or I think she's talking about for Trellis. I'm not sure. She wants to know, like, Thea, will you give us a little clarification on that? Courtney Odell, I'm trying the jump button out. We'll totally share results. Very glad Mediavine came up with a workaround for the jump to without losing viewability for ads.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you just brief testing that we did. So we had a small sample pool. We now actually have a QA department, which is pretty cool, quality assurance. So we have two of our engineers actually had a background in this, two of our support engineers. And so they will hold up any release until they've tested it internally, and then they run it on a pool of publisher websites before any of this stuff is released. So you're going to start to notice that Create is going to be even more stable than it's been. And the same thing will happen with Trellis and with Grow, because basically we're going to go through extensive QA. And if you're wondering, yes, obviously our ads have always been going through an intense QA process. So those will continue to as well as the video player. So I don't mean to leave those two out. But we're going to, to share the results of the QA. What we've seen is that the publishers that were running Jump to Recipe that weren't previously actually had almost no dip in RPM and no dip in viewability. And some of them even saw an increase in viewability. Just because maybe some of those users were going to be scrolling too fast anyway. The ones that are getting those thumb injuries that did those Band-Aids, they might have been just scrolling too fast and missing the ads anyway. So we, if anything, saw a viewability increase now instead of the very commonly seen drop.
Excellent. Just to kind of circle back around on this, talk a little bit more about how all the plugins are going to work together in the ideal world, like the Avengers. That's explain to me what is going to be the advantage when Wonder Twins unite or Wonder Triplets or whatever it is.
Yeah, we're going through so many different metaphors.
I'm not going to stop.
We got to stick with one for me, so I can at least tie them all together here. So the idea of Trellis is like any theme; it's going to have hooks and filters. Those of you who aren't familiar with those, it's basically ways for plugins to tie into your theme. So to give like a very simple example, again, we have an About Me widget in Trellis. Appears on the top right. You can see it on any of the sites running Trellis. There's going to be a little spot where Grow can go in and insert your social profiles, and it will look and fit in with your theme. That's an advantage we have by you running both Grow and Trellis. We can make them work together. Another great example is going to be within, let's say, your recipe card or your how-to card. We could have a spot for Grow to insert a newsletter sign up as we go to add Opt and Hound. We found incredible engagement on Food Fanatic by putting the newsletter signups inside the card itself, because again, it makes sense. That's where your user is most engaged. We can kind of do all of these amazing things because we, for the first time at Mediavine, kind of control multiple aspects of the theme here, right? Because we control the actual template, becomes a lot easier to do. Same thing happens with ads. So if you're running Trellis, we now for the first time know exactly what your theme looks like. So we can do native ads that actually match your site even better than ever before. So rather than trying to approximate this is what your site looks like, you could have an ad that fully fits into your feed in the same way that Facebook has those native ads as you scroll through. You could start to see that in Trellis themes in the future. So a lot of really cool opportunities for these things to all work together. Love
it. Love the good looking ads and being able to have a kind of a closed system where we have the control and we're able to make sure all those things work together in a harmonious way. So we are calling the jump to recipe, not jump to recipe. We're calling it jump to card. What's the distinction and why?
So right now it's going to allow you to jump to either card, which is how to or recipe. So lists aren't really a card, right? Lists are a little more inside the content. Wouldn't have made sense to jump to list. But the idea of a jump to card works for both of those types and any future types that we're going to add. So anything that will kind of be more of a presentation, like a card at the end, or something that's like physically something that the user wants to get to, we're going to allow a jump to. You could see in a world where jump to card becomes almost like a table of contents for multiple things even. So jump to card is a lot more flexible than calling it jump to recipe, which is obviously really just for the food bloggers. So it's a lot bigger of a concept.
Whoa. I just got a really big, huge question. So I'll go Michelle Newman-Platt said, this is not the question. I will read that one in a moment.
Okay.
How hard will it be to switch to Trellis? Will all themes transfer over okay?
So from what we have seen, theme transfers generally are only scary if you have a lot of custom stuff based upon your theme. So like in the Genesis world, there's a lot of plugins that are like Genesis simple hooks or whatever it may be, things that plug into Genesis. If you're running a ton of those aren't going to be compatible with Trellis. If you're running just a basic theme and you haven't done a lot of customization, you haven't had a developer work on your site, it should be pretty simple. Theme switches generally are not that painful. It's not like migrating recipe card plugins where you have to transfer over 10,000, or I hope you didn't actually make 10,000, or maybe you have thousands of recipe cards or hundreds of recipe cards. You're really hopefully just clicking activate and doing a couple customizations in the settings. This is my font. These are my colors. Here's my About Us widget you're filling out. You're going to change your widgets out, right? There'll be generally smaller changes and a lot easier.
Okay, I'm going to do this question. So get ready. It's a little monologue.
Going for the novel? Okay.
So it's monologue. Here we go. Amy Oztan. Question. While writing this, I realized it might be too long and specific for public answering. Please feel free to say, hey, Amy, we love you, but we'll answer that somewhere else. We do love you, but we're going to try to answer it here, Amy. When I switched my recipes to Create, I started using a table of contents plugin as a kind of ad hoc JTR button, not expanded, just there for people who really wanted it. But since then, I've heard that table of contents plugins or hard-coded, hand-coded table of contents are great for SEO. But I've also seen that whether you're making a table of contents for each post or just have that info in H2s and H3s, Google will see it, which is my long-winded way of asking, is it worth it for me to keep using the table of contents plugin or just drop it and use the Create button?
So the table of contents button, if you run one, not made by Mediavine, and we don't currently make one, so it's not going to be optimized for your ads, right? It's going to allow them to skip to that section of your content. And depending on how it's coded, users may or may not see the ads in between, hurting your viewability. And you're certainly not going to get to take advantage of the arrival unit and our ability to optimize the ads in that card if we see a user press the button. So I would say jump to card if you're concerned about kind of your RPM and your ad performance, which obviously we are here at Mediavine, so we're going to encourage you to use the jump to card. It does make sense what you're saying about table of contents. From what I have seen, Google does enjoy them, that it allows them to link directly to parts of your content in the search results. So table of contents are extremely powerful. There's other ways to accomplish that also, as you alluded to, with the H2s, the H3s. And you could even create some of those links yourself without it being a full table of contents. So I don't know, that's my long-winded way of saying either will work. But from an ad revenue standpoint, I'd recommend the jump to card.
Fantastic. Okay. So out of all the things we've been discussing, and is there any other announcements? Because I may not have you again on until 2020. So are there any other super exciting things coming up, or did we spoil all the spoilers at in Austin?
Well, I feel like a fun one that I haven't really talked about is something we added to the video player recently.
Yeah.
And that is featured playlists. So this is something that I use during my talk to segue into the new dashboard, but the featured playlist allows you, instead of just featuring a video that gets inserted into every page that doesn't have a video, now you can insert a playlist that gets inserted into every page without a video. And the idea of that is our playlist technology is able to remember where a user was last watching a video, similar to something like a YouTube or even Netflix remembers which episode you're on. Same concept with our playlist, right? So if you already watched the video, it's not going to show you that same video when you get to the next page. It's going to show you the next video in the playlist. So this kind of like helps. One of the concerns people had with featured videos, that if a user was going to multiple pages, they kept getting that same video. Now they're going to get a different one of your videos on every page. Better user experience. A lot of people are wondering, but there's no playlist support in the video player. That's correct. There was previously none. What this is doing is this is actually paving the way for us to be able to add playlists into the player. We actually have support on the player side. And currently the only playlist you can select is your Up Next playlist. Your Up Next playlist is the one that we automatically generate for you. It's the one that plays after any video ends. You already have an Up Next. That's what you use when you go and you can boost priority of videos and make them appear at the top. You can exclude them. Those same videos, that's what you're able to choose today as your featured playlist. But one of the reasons we're redoing the dashboard is it's going to allow us to create better experiences for creating playlists. And so once you're able to create the playlist in the new dashboard, you'll soon hopefully be able to select those as your new featured playlist and be able to insert them directly in the post in the future. So a lot of really cool stuff coming to the video player related around playlists.
That is really exciting and something people have been asking for a very, very long time. Okay, Michelle Newman-Platt said, I had this problem too. It showed my table of contents instead of my snippet on Google, so I got rid of it. Carla Bushy said, off topic, but man, you guys are amazing. Thank you for everything. Well, what do you know? Amy Austin said, thank you, Eric and Jenny. That makes sense. I need to research if I can hide the TOC and still get the SEO benefit. I don't know. Eric, okay, this is just a general question for our pubs now that we're here. We're in Q4. What are some things that people can do right now with their site to make sure that they're in awesome shape for what's coming up? Because Black Friday is like the day, right, for ad revenue. And
yeah, Thanksgiving's late this year, right? It's not for 2 weeks.
The 28th. Yeah, we have 2 weeks from today.
Okay. Yeah, so it is creeping up on us. And we always say Q4. Really, obviously, I know from a calendar standpoint, it began last month. But from an ad perspective of what you guys think of Q4 is really a magical time between Black Friday and almost more importantly, Cyber Monday or Retargeting Tuesday, as our industry geekily calls it.
Retargeting Tuesday.
Yeah, Retargeting Tuesday. It's going to stick. It's
a magical time.
Magical time of the year. So between that kind of Friday all the way through really up to Christmas or really the day before, that's when kind of all the ad budgets are going to start being spent. So you got to do whatever you can to kind of capitalize on those ad dollars. We did an awesome Facebook Live about revving up your RPM. Jenny and me, I'd recommend you go with that and check out all the tips there, but I'll give you the briefest of ones. If you haven't already, go through my RPM series I wrote in a blog post. And that is things like increasing your font size. That doesn't just help with user accessibility and better reader experience in SEO, but also with your RPM. I think it's like one of our #1 tips we give you here, but it's also one that all of your readers will appreciate, I promise you, especially on mobile. That one is one that will definitely help. Hitting enter more often. We have one on how to format your content, making sure you kind of break apart your sentences. Just the way our in-content logic works is we do not break up paragraphs to insert ads. So break them up for us. Let us know where there's a natural spot for us to stick in ads. Use things like header tags. They're not just awesome for SEO and user experience, but they signal to our in-content logic, don't insert an ad after this heading. So if you're creating things like lists of things and you want to say a heading and then an image or a heading and description, we know not to insert an image after that heading and make your site look bad and your user won't actually engage with that ad. So use actual H tags when appropriate. Trying to remember all of my great tips over the years that we've given. I know there's a lot. Opt-outs, if you're opting out of a lot of things in your dashboard, please don't. Remember, what ads your users are seeing are different than the ads you see. That's how programmatic advertising works. It's targeting you as a user the best they can based on your behavior. It's not necessarily targeting ads to a website. So if you're running a lot of opt-outs, just because maybe you have strong opinions about some of these products, your readers probably don't have the same opinions as you. The more you can turn off, the more money you're going to make. It's extremely important for a lot of things like, I don't know, alcohol or gambling or politics. There's so much money behind those things that you might be opting out of. So turn off any opt-outs you can. And I don't know if you've heard, it's kind of the year, the decade, century of video. Make sure you are running those. You have read our ultimate video guide. You're taking advantage of a featured video. You're running both the autoplay options, and you're allowing us to optimize the placement for you. All 4 of the basic video settings, along with running kind of shorter form video content. Long video content does not get any more ads than short form. It's actually the opposite. The shorter the video is, the more likely the user is going to get to the next video in your up next playlist, giving them another chance for an ad. So shorter form content. Video is, I don't know, we've seen upwards of a 30% increase in RPM, and you better believe that there's only going to be more video ads running during that Q4 time. A lot of budgets are going to be, they're trying to spend the rest of their budgets, and there's videos in short supply always. So video, and of course, optimize your site for page speed. How could I not tell you that? That's the best way to improve viewability and more of your ad impressions loading in time. So do what you can.
What's the sweet spot for video length, Eric?
I mean, so basically the rules are we can't show an ad longer than your video content, because that would be just an absolutely terrible user experience if they watched the 30-second ad and then got like 10 seconds of content. Nobody wants to sit through that. So generally you want your content to be longer than the video ad, and 30 seconds is generally the longest video ad we're ever going to run here. So make sure you have at least 30 seconds of content. We recommend somewhere between 30 to 60 seconds. So it's around that 45-second sweet spot should do it.
Awesome. Okay, so we're getting in some more questions here. Carrie, Lynn said, so smart about shorter videos to get a new ad. Absolutely true. Also true about the sidebar. That's only on desktop, but shorten your sidebars. Carrie Bradley said, have you guys any contacts with Google to ask them what is going on? Not good for Q4 with the latest update. I may cry.
So Google, who, yes, we're just hanging out their office. We do have a few contacts, but their search team is extremely well hidden there. We would never be able to find them in their New York offices or in their Mountain View ones. They would never let us near the search team. They are locked away.
Barely get a bicycle in Mountain View.
Yeah, good luck trying to find them. Mm-hmm. Right, they're well hidden. So they're like I don't know, Coca-Cola secret formula. I don't know what you want to call them, but you're not going to find them. They're certainly not going to give us a contact there, unfortunately, to give you an actual answer. What I always recommend doing is just reading the official webmaster blog by Google, listening to John Mueller, who talks a lot on behalf of Google. He's an actual Google employee, rather than listening to just interpretations of the SEO experts. But really just keep doing what you're doing. I know a lot of these updates are just trying to find, obviously, the best content for their users. They always change what they figure that best content is. Sometimes it's going to help you. Sometimes it's going to hurt you. I know a lot of our publishers were hurt more by this latest round, or at least the more vocal ones were hurt. There's certainly people that got gains from this as well. And that's just the case with any kind of one of these ebbs and flows. So just focus on writing the best content you can, write more content, and hopefully the next algorithm change is going to be in your favor.
Okay, got a couple more. Claudia Lemascola said, so is this one I need to check off? Optimize ads for mobile page speed.
Oh my, that needs to be on. Yes. That's default on for everyone now going forward. I believe all new sites get that feature turned on. A lot of times when we introduce a new feature at Mediavine, we don't want to turn it on your site. We want it to be your choice, even if it is a more sensible default for new publishers, just because we don't want you to wake up one day and your site is performing wildly different than it did the previous day. So optimize for page speed, an incredibly important feature, both for mobile and desktop. What that feature is going to do is it's going to remove ads from the first screen view of your site, because basically the way that Google end users measure how fast your site load is how quickly that first screen view loaded to them. There's an ad. It's going to take longer to load because ads are extremely slow relative to most of your website. So we want to remove any of those ads. So your first screen view is all content. That's the first step it does. And then the other thing it does is it gets the heck out of your way while your content loads. So it waits until basically kind of that first screen view finished loading, and now it's going to get ready to load your ads. So it kind of puts them on like an express lane, as I like to call it, your content, and you kind of moves your ads out of the way. Both of those features are definitely something we'd recommend. We do give a warning on the desktop one. If you're running first screen view ads, such as the leaderboard or a top sidebar ad, those are going to disappear. So there might be a revenue hit, a short-term one. You can also work with our team. We can move that sidebar ad lower. You can make sure you're running the desktop adhesion instead of the leaderboard. It's a preferred placement anyway. We don't like the leaderboard ad. So if you take all those words of caution with desktop, that's also a great feature. And those are going to make sure your site loads faster. More users will come to your site as a result. That should definitely help make up for any short-term revenue loss.
Okay, so Thea Osborne just asked the question that you alluded to a little bit in your answer. What about for desktop? And so you would basically say, if you want to turn that, so everyone across the board, blanket statement, turn on for mobile, period.
Yeah,
do it now, go right now. Okay, if you are on desktop and you're running a leaderboard ad, stop and start using the desktop adhesion.
Yep.
And then the other suggestion is you need to email in to publishers to let them know that they need to retarget that top above the fold sidebar ad.
Yeah.
Okay.
If your sidebar ad was too far below or was already far enough below, then you're going to be in okay shape. If not, we can just help you move it easily. So email in. Great example. Let me talk to you about how Trellis integrates with our ads. Trellis automatically has great optimized ad placements in it, including that first sidebar ad is conveniently going to be below the first screen view automatically for you. So that's just another example of how Trellis is going to work amazingly with our ads. So you don't have to worry or think about those things.
Trellis, you sound awesome. Someone asked earlier if we had a timetable on that one. Do we?
On Trellis, I would say, again, just because it's Q4, it's going to be tough for us to launch a lot of sites right now. The last thing we want to do is hurt anyone's revenue earning potential during this time of year. And obviously with the holidays coming up, there's going to be a lot of employees here at Mediavine that might want to spend a little time with their families. We might allow it. No, certainly not. So they're going to be working 24-hour days all through the holidays to make
We're
sure
not turning the heat on either.
That's what I heard. Yep.
No, it's cold as heck where they are.
We are terrible people. So no, I mean, honestly, Trellis is probably going to end up falling to more of a Q1, I think now, just based on the timetable. But again, I think all of these things were just to make Trellis better. Even recently, we are rethinking the way we handle Google fonts. Because again, what we've learned is nobody wants to use what's called a web safe font. Those are the series of fonts that are on everyone's computers. You could run them. They would be instant. No, everyone wants an external font that has to be loaded because it's prettier. Somewhere Susanna, our font nerd, is shaking her fist at me for even suggesting using a web safe font. So yeah, we needed to be able to basically optimize Google Fonts. That's the next project we're working on. All this stuff is going to be ready for you before you even get to run Trellis. So we're kind of working out all the kinks ahead of time. So it's only a good thing for you guys. I think that we're kind of going to unleash this thing in Q1.
Fantastic. Okay, we've got a long question here. Another one. Hase Alec, I'm sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly. Is it possible that Mediavine had some errors and problems on your side last month? I'm the owner of a few websites on Mediavine with over 4 million visits per month, and I figured out last month was lower RPM than usual. I'm pretty sure it wasn't because of period of the year. It's fine if it is, because now it's awesome. Just curious.
No known glitches. Cool fun fact about the Mediavine script wrapper, which every time I say it, I just want to rename it right here on the spot. The script wrapper is basically A/B tested. So every single change we ever make to the script wrapper, we test it to make sure it's not hurting kind of the network as a whole or any individual site substantially. So no change that we would have made on our end would have had an impact. And if we ever do have a change, you'll notice a little magical credit will appear in the bottom left of your dashboard because we will own up to it, I promise you. In fact, we had a small little glitch of an error 2 days ago. And even yesterday, that was in your favor. So we don't have to credit you, and we certainly won't debit you. You just made a little more money the last 2 days. We accidentally paid you more than we should. Whoops. But we don't, our bad. And if you didn't notice a boost, not everyone always gains when there's one of these bugs. These bugs only affect certain websites. So if you didn't notice a huge RPM boost, please don't email into support. They'll kill me for mentioning this on the live. So small little glitches will happen, but again, you'll be notified. Nothing happened substantially last month. I think what we're seeing just as an industry overall, programmatic ads are a little down this year compared to last year, and that's what you might be seeing. And what that means is that's happening everywhere across the industry, not just Mediavine. eCPMs are down. Mediavine as a whole, as always, is doing better than the industry. That's why we have all these fancy awards behind us and so many happy publishers. But the industry is down, so you might be seeing a little bit of a downtick compared to previous years on some of your eCPMs. Luckily, we've done a whole bunch of optimizations since last year to hopefully make up for a lot of those drops. So, which is why I'm saying you might not be seeing it as much here as the rest of the industry.
Excellent. All right. This is, I think, the last question we have time for. It's from Thea Osborne. I'm on SiteGround running SG Optimize and Auto Optimize, but not for images. What is my best image optimization option? I'm DIY and image heavy.
I would say Trellis Images, which is built into Trellis. No, that would just be mean. Short Pixel is, I think, the one that I know. Short Pixel is the one that we have a blog post on that I know a lot of our publishers run. That one does a great job if you put on kind of the settings that I think we recommend. It's not going to destroy the image quality, and make sure you enable WebP generation before you run them, because unfortunately Short Pixel has to run on all of your images every time you change a setting. It doesn't remember where it was, and they charge you per image they optimize. How convenient, right? So make sure you turn on WebP before you do it when you install it, and then you can go ahead. And I know there's an angry face. I mean, someone did not turn on WebP when they ran it. Whoops. Not our plugin, for the record.
We didn't do it.
Right. Trellis Images will automatically do WebP, and you nothing for you to forget. But yeah, Short Pixel is kind of the best one to use right now. And WebP is not going to be served by default. You need to make sure that whatever lazy loading plugin you're using, I don't know if WP Rocket does this. I don't know. That's the tech people on WordPress who kind of maintain WordPress sites would know more than me. You want to make sure whatever kind of lazy loading image plugin you're running serves those WebP images, because that's super important too.
All right. I want you to think, while I make our announcements, what one thing you're most excited about for Mediavine users and publishers in 2020 is going to be the new decade. And I'm going to make a quick announcement real quick. Next episode of Teal Talk is Thursday, November 21st at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time or 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We're featuring Danica Campbell, president of Everywhere Agency and the founder CEO of the relatively new Influencer Marketing Association. We're going to talk to her about that, find out what kind of an impact that association is going to have for content creators all across the web. And we're really excited to hear more about that and what they can do from a position of advocacy for influencers everywhere. Eric, it's always a pleasure. Tell me your answer. What are you most excited about for 2020?
I think it's when the Avengers finally fully assemble and we have Trellis, Create, and Grow all running by the back half of next year. I think sites are going to finally realize their potential and why we're being these crazy people and building all the stuff we're building. So.
I love it when they think you're crazy, but pretty soon all of it will become clear. Your vision will become clear. It's very exciting. Eric, it was great having you today.
Yeah, thank you, Jenny.
And thank you to everybody for watching. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. It's in 2 weeks, but I will see you in 1 week with Danica Campbell. Have a great day, everybody.